Hello and welcome back to 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your producer, Jeremiah Long, and today, talking about the Atlanta Falcons Week 1 training camp, it's our lead host, Mr. Logan Landers. How's it going, man?
What's going on, man? Talking about week one of training camp with the Atlanta Falcons, of course, what all they've been up to, and of course, getting ready for the 2022 regular season, preseason, and regular season. It's going to be a fun time, man. Football's so close.
Absolutely. Football is so close, and we were just talking about that. We're now into August. We are getting really psyched. We're getting ready. We're into these training camps, and we're just thinking, we're based here in Atlanta, Georgia. So this is all we're thinking about right now is football, Atlanta, Georgia Bulldogs, SEC, going back to the NFL, and yeah, it's all of our minds and all of the competition coming because the Atlanta Falcons, they had an interesting season last year, but for this year, they really want to change a few things up and do things a little bit differently, and we are here for it. So, Mr. Logan Landers, how has week one been over at training camp?
Well, let's talk about this team. Let's go. They've only been there for about 4 or 5 days now, so they're still trying to get things rolling. But let's go ahead and do a day-by-day breakdown what this team's been up to. So day one of training camp began, and obviously the big question in a lot of people's minds with this Falcons team, how their offense is going to produce, is the offensive line, because you got to build a solid foundation there. Falcons can have they have open competitions going on, and that is where you prove it here in training camp. That's where it gets started at the left guard position, the center, and the right tackle. Obviously, they're going to be set with Jake Matthews and Chris Lindstrom at the guard positions at left tackle and right guard. But the position I mentioned earlier, man, they're just free range. There's a lot of guys who either just didn't produce last year, some new guys they've signed, whether it's draft or whether it's in free agency that are coming in who are trying to get that spot. So it's going to be a day-to-day battle between these two, and definitely one to continue to look out for. Arthur Smith, he's putting guys in pretty much as even as he can, getting them as many reps as possible. And it's going to be interesting to see which one of these guys takes that next step and is going to be the start of this upcoming season. Talking more about the offense, of course, the projected quarterback one for this team this year, the one leading the charge, the brand new Marcus Mariota, is looking good on offense, at least on day one. They look solid. He was throwing the ball all around to Control Hodge, Olamide Zacchaeus as well. They both got some good yards, as well as Brian Edwards. Good way to look at these guys. Just look on Twitter, guys. There's clips of all of this stuff from all of the great fans, media out there. So go over there and check some of those plays out. Alden Tate as well got a nice one. And, of course, we all know Kyle Pitts, the star player for this team now. And let's go over to the defense, how they were doing. A little bit rough on day one, but we all know it's going to be a little tough, at least against the pass. But against the run, they looked really well, I think. They got a few turnovers, right? A few interceptions, a few fumbles. Were able to knock the ball out of the place. Knocked it out of Damian Williams, Keith Smith as well. So I think that this is just good to see, right? Because we know the defense for the Falcons was pretty rough to say last year. So nice to see at least day one. They look pretty good. Also, there's a safety battle with two new guys, two new starters. Isaiah Oliver as well was coming back. You had Richie Grant, Jalen Hawkins going at it in safeties, as well as Eric Harris, the vet, and Dean Marlowe looking solid. So I think that day one, like I said, pretty solid, just getting used to everything, and also just seeing just who all's doing what. On day two, I mentioned the defense struggled a little bit in the past, but they did get a few turnovers. Well, day two, man, that was all about the defense. Defense shined. They looked great on day two for this team. A lot of turnovers. Run defense was also very solid. Damian Harris did have a good day, but everyone else struggled against that run D, which is very promising to see because last year, like I mentioned, the defense wasn't good. Especially the run defense was rough. So this is a already welcome sight. Drake London, right? The brand new receiver they drafted who has some high hopes. He had a very solid day. Had some good catches. Everyone said he looks really good, and they're expecting him to have a great season, I think. He's catching passes from Mariota and, of course, from Desmond Ridder, who they drafted this past year throughout the practice. Looks solid. Got a few touchdowns, right? So nice to see this brand new wide receiver one breaking out and so far so good, right? I mentioned Damian Willis, right? Looking really good. He's looking like someone who is a vet, right? He knows what to do. This is in his first training camp, so he knows how to get things rolling. Him and Cordell Patterson, I think, is going to be a pretty solid running back core. Patterson was a very good bright spot for the Falcons last year, and if Williams can continue the way he's looked in training camp, at least, and continue into the regular season, it could be pretty solid. He's also good in the passing game as well. He's not afraid to catch a few passes, check downs, or even just some short routes. I think that this could be pretty solid. The front seven, right? They had a big rotation, like I said. A lot of guys moving around on defense, guys who are playing different positions or some secondary positions, just getting some different looks at things, just to see who all could do what, who all's getting the most reps. The guys who got the most reps on this day, Lorenzo Carter, Grady Jarrett, Rashawn Evans, were the ones who were the standouts, of course. And the O-line, like I mentioned, man, it's going to be changing day to day as well. They got some shakeups as well, some guys moving around, just to see who all is going to go where and how it's going to play out. And I think day two, like I said, another solid day for the Falcons. On day three, a little bit of a fun day here because this was the first time it was open to the public. The fans could come in and see it. And also, for the first time in quite some time, Jeremiah, the fans got to get some autographs with COVID and everything going around. They finally got to get some gear, some merch signed from the players. So a welcome touch, a nice sight to see. A lot of footballs, helmets, and whatever else magazines were signed during this day. But you love to see it. On day three, yet again, the big story, the defense, man. I'm loving it so far. The defense looked really good. They held Desmond Ridder to a few 3-and-outs. D'Angelo Malone, the rookie, as well as undrafted free agent Bryce Rogers were two guys that were looking good on day three. Richie Grant, the safety, was a strong player during this day. He had some good pass deflections against Kyle Pitts as well in the end zone. Had the fans up and roaring. Had the Falcon Nation going crazy. So you love to see it. Isaiah Oliver got a lot of play as well, the cornerback. And Troy Anderson, right, the guy who they drafted from Montana State, was making some plays on day three. He's running down Mariota. He was getting guys in the backfield. Even though there's, of course, limited contact, he was still getting there really quick. And the thing about it is he's only played 2 full seasons at linebacker, but he's got a ton of upside. And so far, man, he looks like he is sliding in really well at the Falcons' play so far, at least against this team. Talking more about who all was looking good, Mariota, the quarterback, of course, we all know he's been in the league for quite some time now. He's expected to be good. Throwing the ball, Brian Edwards was maybe the best receiver of the day. He was guarded against Darren Hall. And like I say, you just like to see some different guys like Felipe Franks, who is running as a different combination, right? If you know the team, you know this. He's running as a quarterback / tight end. So they don't really know what they're going to do with them. They had him in a few packages last year. So they're still trying to figure out what they're going to do with Felipe. And the offensive line, the one that people were kind of raving about, one that they think could potentially click, they've got left tackle Jake Matthews, left guard Elijah Wilkinson, center Drew Dahlem, right guard Chris Lindstrom, and right tackle Caleb McGarry. That was a one that people might think could be potentially the starting rotation, right, in week 1 of the regular season. So we'll have to see. Once again, the running backs were involved a lot. They're going to, I think, take a big emphasis this year on getting that running game going because, I mean, hey, you got to have a solid mix of running and throwing the ball. And our guy, Avery Williams, right, a guy we had on the show a while ago, pre-draft, he was looking good. And I think that day 3, another solid one. And then we're going to go into day 4. Just the other day this happened, right? What all happened? The offense had a big day this time, right? So finally the offense got back on track. And Mariota, Desmond Ridder, they combined. They're a little bit rough in the beginning, but they finally got it going after a few snaps. So you like to see that. On Tate had another good catch. He was looking pretty solid there. You had guys like on the defense with Quentin Bell looking solid. And you have Arnold Ebiketie looking good. Some other guys to look out for, you have Jalen Dalton, Jermaine Ifedi, also undrafted free agent Derek Tangelo looking solid there. So I think that with Darren Hall, the cornerback, right, had a bit of a rough day the day before. He had a good bounce back day. Richie Grant looking solid as well, impressing. And all, like I said, they're regarding Frank Darby, who they drafted not this year, but the year prior, looking solid there. And Kyle Pitts, Drake London, you love to see it on the offense. They were just wearing dudes out and just having them have a rough day, right? And with the talent that both those guys have, they're supposed to be doing that to them. Mariota had another really good day. He's looking fine. I expect this from a vet. So overall, man, I think that so far Falcons training camp, of course, it is going to continue. Of course, they still got a few days left. We got the preseason coming up in just a little bit. We've got the regular season right around the corner. So overall, man, week 1 at the Falcons training camp. Like I said, go look on Twitter, go look on NFL Network, anywhere like you get your football media, and you can find some clips of all this. And it's fun to watch, man. People always think, man, it's training camp. Why do you care about training camp? Why wouldn't we care about training camp? We're a football network. We talk about everything football related, as you know, and we love getting in the trenches here at training camp with all the details for potential breakout guys you might not have heard of, and also seeing how the vets are doing. That's what we do, and that's why we were covering week 1 of the Falcons training camp.
My dad's not. Logan, thank you so much. And I agree, like, the training camps do matter. And the reason they matter, especially for big fans of certain teams like ourselves, because we're based here in Atlanta, Georgia, is because we want to know what are those little things that might make a big difference down the line in this season. And I think those are the types of things you see shape up in training camps. So shout out for that. Well, what do y'all think? Please tell us in the comments. Were you paying attention to training camp this week? What are you an Atlanta Falcons fan, or what are you looking forward to? And in general, what do you think about training camps? And what is your thoughts on keeping up with training camps before the season starts? And if you're watching our live video, first off, thank you so much for watching our live video every single week with thousands of episodes out at this point. But if you're listening to our podcast, thank you again. But if you're not listening to our podcast, come and join us. Our podcast is 100 Yards of Football, just like our show. You can listen anywhere that you like over on Amazon, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon, and I think I said Amazon, anywhere that you listen to podcasts, including the Believe Podcast Network, which is our main sponsor. So please join us over there, drop us a review, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss an episode, because we put out new podcasts pretty much every day. So if you love football, you love the great information that we bring you, then yeah, please join us and share over 1,000 episodes of our podcast as well. And we're continuing to crank along, getting you all the amazing information you need, including hundreds, if not, tens of hundreds of episodes that are evergreen, meaning that you can go back and listen anytime you want. These are history specials, interviews with amazing players, and just in-depth, articles about the various teams that we love. So yeah, go and check us out over on the podcast and let us know what you think. And thank you so much to Mr. Logan Landers for giving us that incredible overview of the Atlanta Falcons Week 1 training camp. I'm your producer, Jeremiah Long, and stay with us because we'll be back with another live episode.